Hi, everyone. I'm Cindy. I'm the Director of Student Fellowships and Study Abroad in the Office of Global Affairs, and we're excited to talk to you today about the UW-Tacoma COIL Fellows Program. I'll be talking specifically about the project background and its goals, and also share what COIL actually stands for.
And I'm Jacob Martens in Writing Studies in SIS, and I'll be talking about my project that just finished a few hours ago and how the students responded.
Great. So oops, that was not supposed to happen. All right. So the project is actually a collaboration between the Offices of Global Affairs, Academic Innovation, Undergraduate Education, and of course faculty members. And it's funded for 3 years by the Strategic Initiative Fund. A little bit about the background. So many of our amazing students have family or professional commitments that keep them here in the South Puget Sound, and they're often not able to participate in traditional study abroad. That's why we got together and wanted to provide additional opportunities for them to engage in global learning right here at UW-Tacoma, and created this COIL, or Collaborative Online International Learning Fellows Program. For those who may not be familiar, COIL is a pedagogical approach that connects faculty and their classes in 2 different countries. Students typically work in multinational teams on assignments and projects with the use of technology. We did not invent COIL. It originated at SUNY, and our initiative is also building on prior UW efforts that originated at Bothell. Here at UW-Tacoma, we have focused our efforts on COILing classes at the 100 and 200 levels and in the core. And the reason we do this is we want to make sure that students have access to these high-impact educational practices early on during their time at UW-Tacoma. We're happy to share that 7 of the 9 inaugural fellows are in fact proposing to include COIL at the 100 and 200 level classes or in the core. And so the names are right here behind me. Annie Nugent, Cassie Mayura, Jacob Martens, you'll hear from, Jane Thompson, Nicole Blair, Margaret Gracie, Andrea Hill, Elizabeth Brooke, and Ellen Moore are the first 9 fellows. So let's talk for a moment about the goals of the project, which of course are aligned with our strategic plan. One of the things that we've talked about is that COIL provides access to this high-impact global learning opportunity right here in Tacoma, especially for those students who cannot study abroad. Also, high-impact and active learning practices like COIL have shown to improve student success and persistence. And students are learning to work effectively in multinational teams while using innovative technology. In fact, in our introductory workshop, we talked a lot about this idea of cultural humility, which is an important prerequisite for working in multinational team. Happy to talk more about that in the Q&A. And finally, this has been a very fruitful collaboration between faculty, staff, and administrators. And with that, I'll turn it over to Jacob.
All right. And my first COIL project combined 2 sections of T-Write 121 with 1 section of Professora Marin's Intermediate English in Coatzacoalcos, Mexico. And thanks to our partnership with the Office of Global Affairs and our new partnership with the Universidad Veracruzana, my partnership was actually very easy to establish. Why I wanted to COIL? My students had read Enrique's Journey, which is one kind of immigration story, but I wanted a real-life application of Adichie's TED Talk, The Dangers of a Single Story. And I wanted to open my students up to that cultural dialogue, and they really did, as you can see. One of my students' takeaways read, "I learned these kids are just like us. They aren't all Enriques trying to train hop into new countries. They are students, teens, young adults who are juggling school, home, and work. It allowed me to relate." Unfortunately, we only had 2 weeks, and that was ending today. Students started with an icebreaker, sharing their daily routines. Then my students created videos where they're explaining their group projects and asking the UV students for insights on their topics. The following week, we had a peer review with their essays, and this is what the icebreaker looked like. During the icebreaker, students discovered that they watched the same Netflix shows, listened to the same music artists, played the same video games, ate Cocoa Pebbles, and so on. Our students exchange videos to discuss topics like bilingual education, immigration, critical race theory, diversity in schools, and immigration through adoption. Some UV students wrote about traditions in Mexico, while others were writing about the forces of globalizations as reasons for learning English. And many students enjoyed exchanging the videos, and they all wanted more time together, which we had today. We spent about an hour in each class talking face-to-face as the final part of this project. All right, so should your friends take COIL classes? So the survey said yes, 48 out of 49 students said they should. Now, when I was first preparing the slide, I was originally sorting responses by UWT students and UV students, but then I realized that these are all good reasons, and so I decided to COIL them together, and here's what they said. It was my favorite experience in this class. We are not the only ones thinking about certain problems. You have opportunity to listen and read other people from other places. We learn how to communicate with real people. And with that, I want to thank you for the support for the COIL initiative and ask if there are any questions.
Cindy, can you talk about, was it technological humility? What you
Cultural
said
humility.
Cultural humility. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I don't know what the hell that was.
Thank you for that, DJ. Right, so in the context of study abroad and intercultural communication, we often talk about this concept of intercultural competence, which seems sort of, a measurable outcome that we aspire towards, and you assess, and you're 80% culturally competent at the end of a study abroad experience or a COIL class. But there are quite a few researchers that actually kind of want to throw out this concept out the window and instead talk about this idea of cultural humility, which comes more from a place of self-reflection and understanding other people's backgrounds as a lifelong process. And then the third aspect of it is to actually look at how those ideas are institutionalized and how either the University of Washington Tacoma in our case or the Office of Global Affairs reinforces or not ideas of cultural humility and lifelong learning in those areas.
Are all of the partnerships that have started with the same university or different ones? And then how do you make those connections with the schools?
Yeah, so not all the faculty are as far along as Jacob is, so kudos to him. And then it's really faculty that make decisions about which university to partner with. So it likely will be 9 different universities. Do you want to talk a little bit about how you picked yours?
Yeah, so part of the reason I picked Veracruzana was that Enrique's journey travels right through that area. So when I saw that email from Jeff announcing that partnership, I just asked, and it happened very quickly. The COIL programs have Facebook groups where people can join and then just ask anyone out in the world who happens to be in that Facebook group to say, hey, this is what I'd like to do. Is anyone out there? And of course, then you got to go and check and find out if anybody's replying to you, of course. So it's networking, and it's working with that other professor, I think, is really interesting. It's really changing the way I'm thinking about how I would set up my assignments, and it really is team teaching in a way.